empaths, and starseeds. The changes happening in the collective consciousness are felt very, very deeply. But for the most sensitive people, empaths and starseeds who are aligned with their soul mission, changes happening in the collective consciousness are felt first, first, ahead of what everyone else is experiencing. If this is you, right now, you are more than likely experiencing a reality where there is no such thing as concrete plans. If this is you, you are more than likely having a very difficult time staying connected to plans from your past or plans for your future. Greetings, love warriors. Greetings, love magnets. My name is Pangea North Star. Tonight, we're going to be talking about rapidly dissolving timelines. The title that I put on the thumbnail is Finding Yourself or Losing Your Mind. And there's a reason for that. I can't wait to get into this topic with y'all. But before I do that, I do want to introduce myself and what I do. Greetings, Dabney. Greetings, Jit. Good evening. Thank you so much for joining me. Can't wait to get you into this conversation. My name is Pangea North Star. As I stated, I'm a Reiki healer, sound therapist, attraction coach, a teacher. I'm an empath, and I love to talk to you guys about love, and I love to talk to you guys about what's happening in our world today and how to survive out here as an empath or a starseed, as someone who is conscious. So, greetings, y'all. Is there anyone, y'all let me know, have y'all been affected by how chaotic the general energy feels right now? Just the energy of the world, the general chaos. Have you felt affected in any way by that? Okay, especially affected in the sense that you're having a hard time finding steady footing, right? Give me some hearts in the chat if that makes sense to you. Or if you feel unaffected, if you feel like, hey, I'm floating above all of this, let me know that too. Let me know that as well. All right. Now, you guys, um, are you finding yourself or are you losing your mind? That can be difficult to discern at this time. Okay. That can be difficult to discern. There are lots of ups and downs. Okay. I see some people saying they're floating above. I see some people are not so much, right? Feeling the chaos, right? So glad, so happy for you, for those who are floating above, and I want you to stay there, okay? Um, Now, we're going to talk about what to do if you're not floating above. So I want you guys to stay till the end. We're going to talk about what to do if you're not floating above, or if you're just like, hey, it seems like these realities are changing all around me, and I want to help direct myself towards the ending, the version of my story that I actually want to live out, right? Stay at the end, stay until the end. I'm going to give you guys some strategies, okay? Some encouragement and some strategies, okay? So, let's see here. Because we're in the midst of the deconstruction of one era, right? One spiritual power. We're at the end of the rule of one spiritual power and going into the beginning of another. There are so many changes happening around us, and I made some great notes, you guys. So if you see me looking over, I'm looking at my notes. All right, but we're having all these global, like, rapid changes resulting in very chaotic energy, right? Because we have these people are saying new, but it's actually very ancient powers coming back to rule. What do I mean by that? We have a lot of planets coming into our star system, coming into the vicinity of planet Earth that have not been here for hundreds or even thousands of years. When planets move into our atmosphere, they bring with them certain energies that create certain changes, right? Everything from chaotic weather to collapses in government, right? Governments that have seemed to be all powerful, right? And they also cause the uprising of groups of people who have been oppressed, who've been underfoot, who've been disenfranchised for as long as we can remember with our collective consciousness, right? So these these changes are being caused by planets that are coming into our atmosphere. Okay, and if you watch, a lot of different conscious channels, if you follow astrology, I'm sure you guys have heard of this, but we're going to talk about how this affects you as an individual, how this affects the energy for individuals. Okay, now if you've heard of any of this going on, tell me in the chat, what have you heard? Name one thing that you've heard that seems significant to you right now. Is it about the planetary alignments, right? Is it about, the timeline split? What type of things have you heard that are happening right now that the collective consciousness is very, very much, chattering about, bringing to the forefront and asking questions about? Okay, tell me in the chat. Now, you guys, so as these changes are being brought about by these planets, right? All this change is being brought about by the energy that comes with these planets, these planetary alignments, right? Um, we have what's pushing back on that is these governments that want to stay in power, right? As well as individuals who want to remain powerless, okay? Governments that want to stay in power and individuals that want to remain powerless. I want you guys to pick up what I'm putting down. Not everybody wants to be free. Not everybody wants to be free, you guys. Okay? Let that soak in. When that hit me, when I realized that, it shocked me. I've always been a person that wants to be free, but not everybody wants to think for themselves, right? If you know some people, give me some hearts in the chat. If you know some people that just like do not want to think for themselves, if you know what I'm talking about, give me some hearts in the chat. There are some people that just, really want certain decisions to be made for them. Those are going to be your people who want to hold on to the old ways. Okay. So those people are also adding to our atmospheric condition. Okay. I'm going to say it that way. Yeah. You know, some people like that in the chat, right? Those people are they're contributing their energy to the atmosphere. So they are doing and saying things that bring back, or I'm going to say recycle, the energy of the past, right? So they don't want to move into a progressive future. There are people who really want things to go back to the old ways, to stay the same or go back to the old ways, okay? They're fine with having their decisions being made for them. All right? So now this creates a highly energized back and forth motion in our collective 3D experience. Okay, a highly energized back and forth motion, because you got the people that want change, right? And the energy is here to support them because of the planetary alignments that are happening, right? But you also have all this, the momentum of the past, and the people here that don't want change, right? And um all the things that have happened, all the past events that have created momentum in that direction. Okay. So remember, you guys, and this is very important to keep in mind throughout this conversation, how many of you know that everything that we see here in the physical is just a manifestation of what has already happened in the spirit realm, right? Everything physical is just manifested energy, okay? Just manifested energy, all right? Now, when large scale changes happen, large scale changes happen, they eventually trickle down to the individual level. Okay. And I'm going to give you some examples of that in just a second. Okay. So when large scale changes happen, they trickle down to the level of the daily experience of the individual. Okay. So those who are seekers, those who are starseeds, those who are empaths, those who are enlightened, what does this likely feel like for you right now, this back and forth? Okay. What you may be picking up on, and prayerfully you are floating above it to a degree, right? And I'll say there's I don't there's very few people who are always floating above it, right? Hopefully most of the time you are floating above it. Hopefully in most areas of your life you're floating above it, right? But there may be moments in time, there are very likely moments in time for you right now where you're feeling it. It's coming down on you, right? And you may have days, you may have hours, hopefully you're not having weeks where you're not floating above it, where you're feeling very much under this pressure. And or it may be the fact that there are certain areas of your life in which you're floating above it, where you're like, I don't know, in this area of my life, not so much, right? Prayerfully, most areas of your life, you're floating above it, but there may still be some areas of your life in which you're like, the pressure is getting to me in this area, okay? If that makes sense or if that resonates with you, give me some hearts in the chat, okay? We're gonna see how we can talk through this and work through it, all right? But this feels like chaotic energy, anxiety-ridden energy all around us because of the changes in our shared atmosphere, right? Our shared atmosphere is creating rapidly changing plans for the individual, right? It's creating blockages of plans for the individual, right? Or it may also be creating an inability to stay connected to long-term plans from your past, right? So something you've been planning for a long time to do, now it's like this doesn't seem possible. There's something standing in my way, or I just don't feel like I'm able to do that, right? Or it may be just something you have planned now for your future. It's just like I don't know if that's gonna be able to happen. That doesn't feel possible now. I don't sense that the energy is here to support that now, right? Give me some hearts if that makes sense. Now, why is that the case? Why is that the case? Let's talk about that, okay? Why is it the case that all these changes and plans are making it difficult for you in your daily life to stay connected to things that you have been planning for a long time, right? Like say there's some change, something you've been wanting to do right now and you've been planning for the last year or two, especially the last year or two, something you've been thinking about or been working on for the last year or two, all of a sudden it feels real shaky, right? I know a lot of people are relating to this because I'm hearing this from people all the time in private consultations, okay? It's feeling rocky. It's like, wait a minute. I've been working on this for the last year or two. And now all of a sudden it feels rocky. Or there's something I'd like to do, I have in mind to do a year or two from now. And it's like, I feel like I can't see my way into what I'm going to be able to do. Because nothing just feels like solid footing right now. Nothing feels concrete right now. Okay. Why is that? Let's go quantum for this answer. Okay, we're gonna talk about the quantum field, you guys. We're gonna go a little bit quantum. I'm gonna try my best to make this simple. Try to simplify a little bit complicated, complicated concept here. Okay, so when we're talking about the quantum field, in the most simple definition I can give you of the quantum field is the field in which all possible realities exist. Okay, I'm gonna say that again. The quantum field, is a field in which all possible realities exist. Okay, all possible things that could happen are happening in the quantum field. Okay, the reason for this is because every time a decision is made, an alternate reality is created in the quantum field. Okay, you guys think about if you're around the same age as me, if you were learning to read in the 80s, or if you were an elementary kid in the 80s, or maybe earlier, these books may have been out, but there used to be these books, these kids' books that would come out, and the book would have more than one ending. Okay, there would be a storyline, and the book would have more than one ending. Give me some hearts in the chat if you remember these books. There would be these, different storylines, kids' stories, and there would be 2 or 3 different endings that you could read to see how the characters in this book possibly ended up, right? And there have been movies made like this as well, you guys. Plenty of movies have been made. Different movies have been made. Most of the time it's something that's kind of sci-fi when this happens. But they'll show more than one possible ending to the story. Okay, think of the quantum field like this. Okay, yes, I see the hearts in the chat. Y'all are following me. Okay, so now, every time a decision is made, an alternate reality is created in the quantum field, and the people in alignment with that decision shift to a new timeline. Okay, now a timeline is just, think of a timeline like a storyline, what we talked about in those books, right? Or the shows, right? Now, a large scale example of this in real life would be, think of like 2 countries that are at war, right? Two conflicting countries that make a peace treaty, right? These 2 conflicting, warring countries make a peace treaty, right? So this peace treaty ends the war. Okay. Now, when this peace treaty is made, the members of these 2 warring nations collectively jump to a timeline in which there is peace, right? But in the quantum field now, think about the book with the different endings or the show with the different endings. There also exists a storyline in which one country A, won the war and obliterated the other country. There exists in the quantum field a storyline or a timeline in which country B obliterated country A, right? And so forth and so on. All these different possibilities, right? There exists a timeline when they both destroyed each other, right? They call it mutually assured destruction, right? So think about, when we're talking about the trickle-down effect, right? Large scale, we're talking about these big countries and the timelines that are created by the decisions that are made in high places, right? But when you think about how does this trickle down to the individuals, say you, empath, or you, starseed, you, way shower, are a person living in one of these countries. And because of the war, you decided to marry person A instead of person B. Let's imagine that person B went off to war, got killed in the war. Okay? So you decide to marry person A, right? Or you may decide to marry no one at all, right? So this decision creates alternate realities. Now think about this. The realities are adding up, right? Every possible reality exists in the quantum field. Every possibility. Realities on realities. Okay? So, you marry person A. This is the reality. This is the choice you make in your reality. A reality is also created in the quantum field where you marry person B. Maybe person B didn't die. Okay? There's also a reality created in which you marry no one at all. Or perhaps you marry someone later. There's all these different realities that spin off from the decision that you made, right? All the other possibilities. Greetings, Xena Electra. Greeting, Miss Fortitude. Now, you guys, think about that. As the individual, you were impacted by the war. Let's say this is happening up here. Think of like a funnel with a trickle-down effect. Up here at the top, there's this war, that decision whether the countries go to war or make peace or whatever, that wasn't your decision, right? But as an individual, you have a decision to make based on what's happening up here, right? So for you as an individual in this timeline where you married person A, in this timeline where you decided to marry person A, the energy of those other timelines seems to dissolve. You cannot access those timelines. You can think about them, and some of your energy is going there because you're thinking about them. But the energy the timeline you're actually in alignment with is the timeline you live in. Because the only experience you can have, in fact, is the timeline that matches your energy. Think about that. Does this, let me know this makes some sense. Thank you for the support. I see the 100s in the chat. The only experience you can have is the energy, is the experience that matches your energy. Okay? So that's why we're going to talk about how to change your energy to match the timeline that you want to be living in. Okay? Because when all these things are swirling above you in the funnel, it can feel like I have absolutely no control. I have absolutely no, influence over what happens next. But that is not true. That is not true. Okay? That is absolutely untrue. But that is the feeling. When we talked about the people that want to stay in power, right? The people that want to stay in power want you to feel that you have absolutely no control. They want you to feel fearful about what's going to happen next. And remember those people who want to stay powerless? We mentioned those people earlier. You got the people who want to stay in power and the people who want to stay powerless. They're the ones creating the opposite energy, the energy on this side of the pole that is opposing the energy of these new planets coming into our atmosphere. The planets bringing change. Those people who want to stay powerless, they are bringing energy through their words, their thoughts, and their actions that support the timeline in which those who want to stay in power actually do stay in power. But we're going to let those people who want to stay powerless, let them stay on that timeline. Let's create our own timeline over here, okay? And here's how we do that. Okay? If that example made sense to you, if that resonated with you, if you follow me, give me some hearts in the chat, okay? I hope that I was able to, in some way, make a very complicated scenario, a complicated construct seem doable, digestible, okay? A very concept, I should say, Seem digestible. Okay, great. Glad y'all are with me. Okay, great. So now, again, for highly sensitive people, the changes happening in the collective consciousness are felt deeply. For the most sensitive people, which is your empaths and your star seeds who are in alignment with their mission, the changes happening in the collective consciousness are felt first. So we go ahead. We feel these things ahead of the other individuals. Okay? The changes in the collective consciousness are the changes in the atmosphere, the changes in the cosmos, and then you've got your governments and so on and so forth on down to the individuals. Okay? Now, if you are an empath or a star seed and you are feeling disconnected, I'm not saying you're spiraling out, I'm not saying you're crashing out, but you may very well be feeling disconnected from your old plans you had in the last 1 or 2 years, things you've been planning for the last couple years, or things that you have in mind now for 1 or 2 years out. It can be very difficult to connect to either of those things right now, okay? Because of all of the changes that are happening and the way so many different things are happening up here. That means we are rapidly like burning through timelines as a collective, okay? If that makes sense to you, give me some hearts in the chat, okay? Say yes in the chat, all right? If you have had a difficult time recently staying connected to a plan, let me know what plan that is. Let me know in the comments. What plan is it that you feel a little disconnected from? Like I can't locate the energy for that anymore, okay? Let me know that. And I'm about to share with you all. Yeah, it's been interesting, right? Yes, Jatan says yes. Zena's saying it's been very interesting. So, yeah, what do we do about that? Okay? What do we do about that? Zena says all of them. Right. Yeah, all the plans. Past, present, future. I'm telling you guys, I'm laughing because I can relate. Trust me, I can relate. It's like, sometimes you have to find a new how for your why. Okay? Sometimes you got to locate, be open to a new how for your why. Does that make sense to you all? Say yes if that makes sense to you all. Your why, your reason for being here and what you want out of life, you're wanting peace, you're wanting joy, you're wanting love, that hasn't changed. But how you're going to get there, stay flexible. You got to stay flexible, right? that part is changing. You can feel it. You can feel it all around you. Now, first thing I want to encourage you all, like I said, remain flexible. YL says yes. Yes. Remain flexible. Okay? I want you to remain flexible and patient. Okay? Remain flexible and patient so that you can remain hopeful, joyful, and calm. Okay? Hopeful, joyful, and calm. Okay? Does that sound good to you all? Give me some hearts if it does. You want to remain flexible and patient with yourself. Don't be rigid in your plans. There's a saying that goes, be like a palm tree. Because we think about palm trees, they're tall and they're beautiful, but they exist in tropical climates where there are hurricanes. How is it that the palm tree does not break in the storm? Palm trees are very flexible, extremely flexible. Be like the palm tree. You've ever seen footage of a hurricane? You'll see those palm trees. When the wind comes, what do the palm trees do? They bend. They bend, right? Now, if you live in a region like I do, where you got these big oak trees, what happens to them in a storm? They get knocked over, they get broken, right? They end up splintered, right? Be like the palm tree, okay? Very important, because otherwise you're going to shrink into fear, okay? You're going to shrink into fear. Because if you get caught up in the chaos of it all, and the oh my God, I don't know what's going to happen next. You know, I'm fighting, I'm giving pushback, and I'm, you know, getting caught up in the day to day, in the chaos of it all, and I'm becoming afraid that what I really, really wanted may not happen. No, it's going to happen. Remain flexible, remain patient, so that you can remain hopeful, joyful, and calm. Okay. Now, next thing, let's get into some spirit, and guys. How do you change the energy of your day to day? How do you get into alignment with the energy that you want to see in your day to day, right? How do you reconnect with a new how to bring your why into fruition? All right. I want us to utilize the energy of the number 7. Okay. Utilize the energy of the number 7. I'm writing a class on this. I'm writing a course on this. But you guys are going to get a sneak peek, okay? Because we need this energy now. Like right now. Right now. Okay? Now you guys know, if you've been here with me before, you know I love to talk about our chakra system, which is our energy centers. Okay? And as of this year, we do have full access to two more above our 7 basic chakras, our 8th and our 9th chakra, right? But we're just going to focus on the 7 main chakras for today, right? 7 main chakras, or 7 basic chakras is what you normally hear people call them. Your 7 basic chakras. They are the root, your sacral, and let me back up and just talk a little bit about what each one represents. Okay, I'm gonna give you a very short synopsis. Your root chakra, the energy of your root chakra, the root chakra is the energy center in your body. It has to do with safety, stability, right? This is your foundation, right? Early childhood, okay? Your sacral chakra is next. It's located in your pelvis. For women, it's where the womb space is. It has to do with sensuality, is the thing you'll most often hear about, but it also has to do with ancestral connections and drawing boundaries. Okay, your solar plexus is next, which is just above the navel. This is your personal power grid. Okay, this is your will, this is your discipline, right? This is where we hold the energy of things that we plan for the future, our goals, right? Your next is your heart, your heart chakra, which is about love of all kinds, right? Romantic love as well as compassion, just that good humanitarian love, family and friends, right? Throat chakra is next, which most of the time you'll hear is about expressing yourself, but it's also about creativity, right? Expressing your creativity as well as being receptive to other people's expressions as well. So listening, your ears are a part of that chakra system, right? Your third eye, which you most commonly hear about, is about intuition. But I love to talk about the imagination of it all, right? Our imagination is a guide, let's say, for our intuition, right? Our imagination leads us to what our intuition is showing us, and vice versa. Our intuition, a lot of times the things we're imagining, we don't realize that that's really our intuition, right? It's telling us that this thing exists. Where? In the quantum field, right? And the crown chakra is the last of the 7 basic chakras. And this is the realm of divine guidance and our connection to the all, our connection to, Mother Nature, to the cosmos, to source, creator, God, whatever term you're comfortable with. Okay. Your highest version of you. Okay. So these 7 energy centers, interesting that the number is 7 because we're talking about connecting to the energy of the number 7. What is the energy of the number 7? What does 7 represent? Right? Numerologically, 7 is connected to mystery, spirituality, the quest for knowledge and understanding and wisdom. Okay? In the tarot, which we're going to zoom in on these particular meanings: transformation, transfiguration, and movement from one state of being to another. One state of being to another. Okay? So, in other words, this state of, oh, I'm frazzled right now. I don't seem to be able to connect to the past or the future. I'm just kind of floating right now, right? Transforming yourself from that state, or traveling, moving from that state to the state of, you know what? I feel anchored. I feel calm. I feel hopeful, joyful, and calm, right? Yeah. I feel safe. I feel secure, regardless of the changes swirling around me. Moving from one state of being to another, right? That's what we want to create. The last meaning is allegory. Okay, the last meaning I'm going to mention is allegory because I think that's also significant. Allegory is a story that has a lesson to it. An allegory is a story that teaches you a lesson. Okay, and our story is teaching us lessons all the time, right? Give me some hearts if you're always learning from your story. Okay, absolutely. Okay, so if you are familiar with these meanings of the number 7, give me some hearts in the chat. Say yes in the chat. If you know of some other meanings of the number 7, also share that with me in the chat. Some relevant meanings to the number 7. Okay. And when you think about the number 7, there are 7 days in the week, right? 7 days in the week. Someone decided that we were going to have 7 days in the week to our calendar. The number 7 creates mobility. It creates momentum, right? Start your week on Sunday, you end your week on Saturday, you're traveling through the week, right? So now, here's what I want you to do to create change for yourself. We're gonna utilize 777. Okay, just the energy of the number 7. All right. So for 7 days, yes, I see that. Another meaning of number 7, Zena sharing, is introspection. Exactly where we're going. For 7 days, I want you to be introspective. Okay, I want you to do some self-reflection on whatever the issue is, the thing you're having a hard time connecting to, right? Whatever this issue is. Say, for example, I want to change my career. I want to change my career. I'm trying to figure out what's the best move. For 7 days in a row, 7 days back to back, I want you to focus on, meditate on, reflect on that topic from the perspective of each chakra. So day 1, you're going to focus on it from the perspective of the root chakra. We said root chakra is about stability, safety, security, protection. It's your foundation, right? Why is this? What's causing this blockage for me? What is my purpose and want to change my career? How does that relate to my sense of stability, safety, and my foundation I'm building? Okay. One thing I highly recommend is free writing, just journaling using free writing. And when I say free writing, don't try to make it perfect. Just get the thoughts on the paper. Okay? Get the thoughts on the paper. Don't try to make it perfect. It doesn't have to be spelled right. It doesn't have to be grammatically correct. It doesn't have the paragraphs and indentation don't have to be in the right place. Just get the thoughts on the paper. Okay? It could be phrases, it could be words, just individual words, whatever it is, get your thoughts on that paper. Okay. Sometimes we get in our perfectionist crap, or sometimes we're like, oh, I don't know where to get started. Just start. Just start. Okay. A good thing to do each day would be to journal on the topic. I like to do it using journaling. You can also do it using meditation. So you can meditate on it. But my favorite is writing, okay? Because when you write things down, it makes it real, okay? And you're able to see your thoughts in front of you. And when you get those thoughts out, sort of speak, it's a way of getting the thoughts out. And when you get those thoughts out, it makes space for new thoughts to come in, okay? So I'm going to highly recommend using journaling as your activity you do each day, okay? Second day, you're going to look at this issue from the sacral chakra. Sacral chakra, we said, had to do with sensuality, but we also talked about ancestral connection, right? It's another thing I mentioned in drawing boundaries. So, how does my concern in this area of what I want to create for myself in this area of my life, this career change, how does that relate to my ancestral connections? Well, what did my parents and my grandparents and my great grandparents do for a living? Did they have the type of choices that I have in this area of their life? Give me some fire in the chat if this makes sense to you. Give me some fire in the chat if this makes sense to you. Did my ancestors get to do things that made them happy with their life? Or were they just doing what they had to do just to make it through? Was that the energy of their time? Right? Did they make choices that made them joyful in the area of the career? Or did they just do what they had to do to put food on the table? Okay. Day 3, you're going to write about it from your solar plexus. Day 4, how will I feel in my heart? How will this help me? Is this a move? What's the most loving decision I can make? What decision will be a reflection of self-love? Start with the self-love, please. Start with the self-love, please. Okay. What is the most loving decision I can make for myself in this area of my career? And so forth and so on. Do this for each chakra. Okay. If you like to use, if you utilize 7-day candles, that's also a great thing to do. Right? For all on the first day, light all 7 candles. Another thing you can do is write, some of those keywords, write those on the candle. Okay. But having those candles lit and letting them burn all 7 days, it's gonna remind you to do it. Okay. There are also some other very significant things about lighting candles and what they represent, your energy and calling in energy, but we don't have time to get to that because we're already past the time. We're already past the time allotted for tonight. Okay. But do that for 7 days. Okay. 7 days in a row. 7 days, 7 chakras. And guess what time I want you to do it? Guess what time I want you to do it? Tapping into the energy of the number 7. Who knows what time I want you to do it? That's right. I want you to do it at 7 a.m. or 7 p.m., whichever works for you. 7 a.m. or 7 p.m. Okay? 7 days, 7 chakras at either 7 a.m. or 7 p.m. Okay? You're going to create some magic in your life. You're going to create an opening within in your quantum field, okay? That you can slide right in. Okay, you're going to be aligning the energy of each of your chakras with the outcome that you want. And at the end of this, you're going to feel empowered to take action. Okay, even if that action is just remaining flexible and feeling less anxious about your problem, feeling acceptance, of what is. That's a change. Okay. Now, I'm going to give you a little hack because we do have busy lives. What if you miss 7 a.m. or what if you miss your 7 p.m.? And you could do it both. You could do it at either time or both times. If you really just really want to get into this, do it at both times for 7 days. Okay. If you miss your 7 a.m. or 7 p.m., guess when is the next time that you can do it? You're not going to guess this, so I'm just going to tell you. Okay. The next time you can do it is 8:17. Okay. So your makeup time, if you miss 7 a.m. or 7 p.m., your makeup time is 8:17. Why? There's only 60 minutes in an hour, right? So if there was a time on the clock that was 7:77, 77 minutes past 7 a.m. or 7 p.m., that time would be equal to 8:17. Think about it. 17 minutes past the hour is 8:17. Okay? And guess what happens when you add up 8, 1, and 7? You get the number 7. 8 plus 1 is 9. 9 plus 7 is 16. 6 plus 1 is what? 7. Y'all, I'm not. Is that fire or what? Give me some hearts in the chat. That was just a download. This is what Spirit showed me to do. Okay, so I'm just sharing with you what Spirit showed me to do. And I have created major shifts in my thinking, resulting in major shifts in my life by doing this. And you can do it with any issue. Any issue. So we're tapping into the energy of the number 7, utilizing the energy of the number 7. And the universe recognizes that energy. That energy was here before you got here. Okay? So when we do these things and we stick to it, we stick with it, we're diligent and we do our work and we attach our number to a universal principle, to an energetic signature that the universe recognizes, you're creating power with what you're doing. Okay? If that makes sense, give me some hearts in the chat. Give me some fire in the chat. Give me some 100s in the chat. Do we have a question about how to do this before we get out of here for tonight, before we end for tonight? I know we went a little bit long, but I gave you a lot of information. I gave you some steps to do. If we have any questions about how to do it, now is the time. Also, if you're watching this video later and you have a question about what to do, give me some questions in the chat, okay? And I'll check back and I will answer, okay? I will answer as best I can. Now, if it's 5 years later, don't try to hold me to that, okay? But if you have a question, drop me a question. I do check often, okay? And I will answer your question. If anyone has any questions now, going once, going twice, I'll take it that this was pretty clear. If this was clear, give me some fire in the chat. Just put the word clear in the chat, okay? And you guys, when you try this, let me know the results that you get. Put that in the comments for me to see later, okay? Put that in the comments for me to see later. I want to know the results that you are getting with doing this. You can start this tonight. You don't, even if you don't have the candles, you don't have to have those candles. You don't have to do that. That's extra. Okay, the most powerful tool that you have is your intention. 8:17 was the second time. I see that question. If you miss 7 a.m. or 7 p.m. or just for some reason, just like that don't work with my schedule, you can use 8:17. Okay, 8:17. All right. 8:17 a.m. or p.m. Okay, let me know the results that you guys get. I had powerful transformations. time, 6:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. Peace.